All right, well, Taman's working on some behind-the-scenes stuff here on Big 12 Today on Big 12 Radio. So we'll do our own Big 12 men's basketball whip-around. We're going to be previewing the big game tonight between KU and Arizona. It was a full slate. There were actually 2 games yesterday, one of them a major surprise, and then we had some bangers on Saturday. So, all right, Timken, let's start with Arizona State and Colorado. Colorado gets the season sweep over Arizona State over the weekend, 78-70. Colorado's on the outside looking in for the NCAA tournament, but I think any postseason would be a major step for them. And I did a radio call-in interview, and they were asking me about Colorado, and I said, I think they're a year away. Like, watch out for this team next year. They're playing a bunch of sophomores that were freshmen last year. They're a developmental program, and they're close, but this was another step in the right direction for the Buffs.
Yeah, I just thought Colorado was better at the rim. They were better rebounding. They blocked shots. They were active. Like, they finished. Arizona made a push late in this game, and Colorado was just able to rebuff that. Ha, ha, ha. Thank you for laughing at that.
Did you do that on purpose?
I did it on purpose.
I liked it.
Pun unintended. But, I mean, yeah, Colorado shot 51%, was 42-28 with points in the paint, won the glass by 14. So, a lot of times you'll see in Big 12 games who wins, especially at home. It's the rebounding edge, it's the point in the paint's edge, and that's what Colorado did in this game. But I just thought they finished. They did good. They did good. They did a really good job of finishing, of blocking shots, of being, active in the paint. And, yeah.
They did good things. Colorado's 14-10 now and 4-7 in Big 12 play. All right, next up we will take a look at Kansas State and TCU. TCU won this game 84-82. Xavier Edmonds had a career high 26 points. Kansas State led the entire contest. TCU didn't take their first lead until the final 6.7 seconds of the game. K-State led by as many as 18. They were up 42-24 in the first half. TCU had an 18-4 run to close out the first half. They got it close, and then they just continued to chip away until Kansas State had a costly turnover in the closing seconds by P.J. Haggerty, and they blow it.
Yeah, man, how many games have we seen like this from K-State? I mean, they are basically up the entire game. And, I mean, they were up 78-68 with 5:26 to go.
Yes, they were.
The finish was just brutal for Kansas State basketball, and this pretty much summarizes the 2025-2026 basketball season for Kansas State. They're up 82-77 after a McGriff dunk with a minute 29 to play, and then didn't score again. They turned it over on each of their last 3 possessions. TCU closes 7-0 run. It was bad. And look, this is what happens with bad teams, James. I mean, this is a commentary on K-State and where they are. Like they're not a connective team. They lose games like this at the end, even with a lead, because like better teams in winning time are just going to take advantage of a team that's just not connective. And that's what this was. It was too easy. It's crazy. Like they had a lead and you're like, oh, they're going to win. And then suddenly it's like, oh no, it was never even a doubt. Like it felt like TCU was completely in control in the final, minute of this game.
You're watching highlights on Big 12 Studios. TCU won it in the closing seconds at the foul line, and then Kansas State, as already noted, 3 turnovers on their final 3 possessions. TCU attempted 36 free throws, Kansas State just 8. A huge advantage for the Horned Frogs in their comeback effort. All right, up next, Kansas and Utah. This game was closer than I thought, at least in the first half. But Kansas flexing their muscles, they pull away to win it 71-59 to set up the showdown for Kansas and Arizona tonight on Big Monday. KU led by 7 at the half, 38-31. Flory Badunga was fantastic. He had 7 blocks. 7 blocks in this game against an undersized Utah team. KU just too much on the inside.
Yeah, I mean, this, to your point, was sort of a surprise. Utah really matched Kansas's physicality here. Like, they came to play. They brought their lunch pails. They came to play. The problem was, they just don't have the talent or the physicality to hold up with them for 40 minutes. Derek Peterson played season-high 34 minutes in this game, but yet he was sort of a footnote with 14 points. And, yeah, Flory with 17, 10, and 7. This was a team workman-like effort, and it's a lot of what we've seen for Kansas during this, 7-game winning streak now? 8? 7, 8? Something like that?
7.
7.
It's up to number 7.
7. So, yeah, a little bit closer than I think many expected, but should be a good one.
17, 10, and 7. Flory Badunga is one of the most underrated big men in the nation. Like, not just in the league, in the country. I think that he's overshadowed by Darren Peterson on a national level. Like, what he is doing has been phenomenal here in Big 12 play. All right, we go up to Ames, Iowa. Hilton Coliseum, number 7 Iowa State, takes down Baylor. Final score a little bit misleading, 72-69. This game had a lot of waves of momentum. It was tight. It was physical for a good chunk of it. It had 6 lead changes and 4 ties. But Iowa State improves to 21-2. Baylor falls to 13-10 and 3-8 in Big 12 play. But Iowa State only led by 4 at the half. They led by as many as 7 about midway through the second half. Stretched their lead before a Baylor rally. Iowa State gets the win. Momcilovic had a game-high 21.
Yeah, but only 2 of 6 from 3, so not exactly shooting to his potential in terms of being a high 50% three-point shooter. This game was weird because Baylor had these 2 dominant stretches sort of at the beginning and then end of the game. Iowa State went 4 minutes without a bucket in the first half, still took a 4-point lead at halftime. And then with a 15-point lead for Iowa State, Baylor closes on a 14-2 run to finish this thing out to make it a 72-69 win. They got it close. There was an 11-0 run at one point to end this thing for Baylor. So it's like, man, if only they could have just did exactly what they had done those stretches throughout the entire game, they would have been in a much better position. This would have been a big-time win for Baylor because, I mean, they, in many ways, should have won this game. Like, they out-rebounded Iowa State. They had more points off turnovers. Like, they did a lot of the things that Iowa State traditionally does, but just couldn't finish it out.
Iowa State gets the win. Baylor, that would have been, to your point, massive for the Bears and maybe put them back in the NCAA tournament conversation. All right, yesterday, 2 o'clock start time, Eastern time in front of 10,000 fans. Cincinnati gets to 4-7 in Big 12 play. They thumped UCF. Their most complete performance of the season, definitely offensively, 92-72. Cincinnati shoots 11 of 18 from 3 for the game. They were 6 of 8 in the second half, shot 67% from the floor in the final 20 minutes. 5 players, all 5 starters, score in double figures. Baba Miller with 17 points and 10 rebounds as Cincinnati. They go wire to wire in this one. They led the full 40 minutes in a 20-point blowout.
Yeah, this was a season of frustration for Cincinnati taking out on UCF at home. 61% shooting from 3, 59% shooting from the floor. Anytime you shoot 61% from 3 and you outshoot yourself from the floor, you're in good shape, especially for an offense that I'm not sure we thought was capable of putting 92 points up. So, I mean, we know Cincinnati's got a great defense, but offensively they've struggled all year. Not so much in this case. They just completely boat raced UCF in this one, 92-72.
Certainly doesn't knock UCF off the bubble, but it says a lot about how difficult it is to win on the road in this conference, especially if you're not one of the top 6 teams in this league. All right, Arizona, big game tonight against Kansas. They're 23-0 now. We went into Saturday thinking, could this be a trap game for Arizona? They play a hot Oklahoma State team in Tucson, and Arizona slammed that door shut early, right away. 84-47 is the final. Arizona built a 40-22 halftime lead, holding Oklahoma State to just 22 points in the first 20 minutes. They opened the second half on a 13-0 run. They led by as many as 30 most of the second half, and they get a 30-plus point win.
Yeah, Oklahoma State kind of ran into a buzzsaw here, yeah?
I'd say so.
I'm not sure which is worse, the 87 or the 47, or 84 or 47. Yeah, this was as ugly as the score would look. It feels like Arizona did exactly whatever they want to do, and Oklahoma State could not do anything that they want to do. Like, this was a stylistic clash, and Arizona won in that way. Oklahoma State can only kind of win one way, and Arizona can win multiple ways, and it didn't matter, you know? Arizona's really good, and there's probably no better example of just the discrepancy between the top and mid of the Big 12. Like, we think Oklahoma State could be a tournament team, and they certainly could be, but this is a good come-to-Jesus moment of just how much better the top of this league is than even some of these fringe tournament teams, if Oklahoma State is one. And this game probably will not sit well with the committee, even though it was a loss to the number one team in the nation. I mean, you lose this badly and not even be competitive in it. Yeah. I mean, Oklahoma State could not, the 47 points tells you, but it was just really difficult to watch. Oklahoma State could not score. It was, and you figure at some point, like, they'll get some stops. They just couldn't get stops. They couldn't score. It was just a dreadful combination.
In a 40-minute game, Oklahoma State put the ball in the basket 15 times. They shot 25% from the floor. They couldn't even make their free throws. They were 11 of 23 from the foul line.
They didn't see the ball go in anywhere.
And Arizona only made 2 threes. Didn't matter. Arizona out-rebounded Oklahoma State 56-35. They had almost 60 rebounds in this game. Arizona flexing their muscles. We'll be previewing the big Monday game tonight between Kansas and Arizona coming up around the corner. But one more game to touch on, and that is 2 more games, I should say. Yesterday, Texas Tech at West Virginia. This is a massive win for Texas Tech to go on the road. Different time zone, long road trip. West Virginia, backs against the wall, need a win. West Virginia went 2 of 22, 9% from 3. Meanwhile, Texas Tech hit 13 of 24 from downtown. Texas Tech gets the 70-63 win on the road, highlighted by JT Toppin's 22 points and 9 rebounds.
Yeah, and, I mean, Texas Tech could really shoot the cover off the ball even on the road. They were 8 for 11 from 3 in the first half. And you figure even if they cool off, like, it's hard for teams to hit 8 threes in a game, let alone in a half. West Virginia did make a push, but then Texas Tech steadies the ship with a 10-0 run in the second half, and that built the lead back up. JT Toppin, 22 points. Donovan Atwell, like, that's kind of what they need. They just need somebody else other than Christian Anderson, and JT Toppin, and they get that in most of these games, whether it's Atwell or somebody else. But, West Virginia, 2 of 22 from 3. So not only did Texas Tech shoot the ball extremely well from 3, which they usually do, but West Virginia was dreadful at home from 3, 2 for 22. So when you consider they only lost 70-63 and shot 2 of 22 from 3, So obviously West Virginia had a huge advantage in the paint. It didn't matter because Texas Tech was that good shooting the ball from deep.
And the last game that we'll touch on, the big one Saturday night, Houston and BYU. Houston goes on the road, picks up a massive win for the Cougars. BYU sliding towards 500 in Big 12 play. Houston gets the win 77-66. BYU's now 500 in conference play. This game was close throughout, but then Houston pulling away down the stretch, just flexing their muscles. Kingston Flemings with a team-high 19 points. Houston had a run early in the second half, and then BYU did what they do. They kept it close down the stretch, but Houston pulls away for the dub.
Yeah, Kingston Flemings. This was a game about freshmen to me. Kingston Flemings was, as you'd expect, like, you expect this dude to just walk the floor and get 19 points. I thought Chris Sinak owned A.J. Demancia in this game. Like, numerically, maybe the numbers don't stand out for Sinak, but I thought he just dominated this game in terms of his defense. And, I heard Parker Ainsworth from Locked On Cougars talking about this, and I think it's 100% accurate. Like, when BYU and Houston play, it's two contrasts of offensive basketball and finesse versus meat and potatoes defense. Like, Kelvin Sampson gets off the bus playing defense and being physical, and aside from Kiba Kita, like, BYU just does not have enough of the defensive physicality rebounding that they need in order to beat Houston and probably be a deep tournament team. Like, that's Sampson is D first, Young is offense first, which isn't exactly a problem except for his teams are just not physical. And I think that this is a ongoing theme. This thing was tied 54-54 with under 10 to play, and Houston went on a 14-5 run where they just exerted their physicality and their physical dominance in this game. And I think on tomorrow's show, we need to dig deeper into something here. Milos Uzen has probably made a huge mistake by coming back to Houston. Remember, he was thinking about going to the NBA draft, and certainly coming off of the season he had last year, it looked like, oh man, if they lose him, that'd be a huge loss. Enter Kingston Flemings, and it's just interesting to watch how Uzen's role has changed. I'd love to kind of dig deeper into that as we get through this week, because that's a huge subplot to the season for Houston.
Completely agree, and he is struggling to shoot the basketball. He's been really up and down. He goes 2 for 10 in this game.
Think about how much his role has changed with Flemings.
Yeah, and his role has changed in terms of he's not the guy, but he's still on the floor. Like, he played all 40 minutes in this game, but you're right. He's taken a back seat to Kingston Flemings, who is the dude lighting it up. 4 of the 5 starters in double figures for Houston. Also, they out-rebounded BYU 40-36. This was a clean game. There were only 10 combined turnovers. Houston had just 4 turnovers in this game. They were incredibly efficient offensively and then really bothered the BYU shooters. They shoot a season-low 40% in this contest. All right, that's a look at all the Big 12 games. Coming up next, we'll dive deeper into Kansas and Arizona, because that is the Big Monday Showdown tonight at 9 Eastern. You can watch it on ESPN. You can hear it right here on Big 12 Radio. He's Ari, I'm James, and this is the Big 12 Conference. This is a different league.